All right, boys and girls, I don't know if you've seen on YouTube, there is a bracelet that you can make out of this template here. So I'm going to teach you how to make the template and then how to actually put the bracelet together in there. So I want to teach you right from scratch so you can actually create your own template from these squares here. So you get a square, and we'll use our circle stencil that we have. And you're going to trace that circle onto your square. Okay. Using a pair of scissors, we're going to cut nice and even around that square. You really want to try and get it even so that the yarn doesn't catch. And there we go. So now I've got my circle. I want to find the center of that circle. So I'm just going to kind of mark it. And then using the tip of the scissors, we're going to kind of punch that out. Now, I'm going to actually set that on top of my scrap. And using my scissors, I'm just going to press and spin. And making sure that this is underneath so it's not going through. And then you can see a little bit of a puncture hole. So I'm going to mark that. And then I'm going to go from the opposite side. I'm going to puncture that spot. And now you can see that the hole has kind of begun. Just gently kind of twist it back and forth. We don't want that hole to be too big because we don't want our yarn to go all the way through. All right, now that we have that, we want to have 8 spots for our 7 pieces of yarn. Okay, so you're basically going to go across top and bottom and then side to side. Okay. So it's half and half, and then we're going to do that again in between these two, in between those two, and then in between these two, and in between those two. So I'm just going to darken them so I can really see them. Okay, now you can see what that looks like. All right, using my scissors, I'm going to cut those slits. And you really only need to cut them in a little bit. It's just going to hold that yarn in. Okay. Now we're ready for our yarn. There are 8 here, and so we're going to go with 7. We want 7 pieces. Okay. So I'm going to I picked all warm colors. You can see I have 7 pieces and I cut them all approximately the same. You really want them to be approximately the same, but it's kind of hard to get that out of this conglomerate of stuff here. Okay, so always find the end. If it's in a nice spool like this, it's a little bit easier, but from wherever you cut, do not cut in the center of the loop. Find the end and then cut from the end. This one is kind of tough to find. So that's a good example. There's the end, okay? Cut from the end, measure it to reach the same length, and then snip, okay? If you got something like this, it's usable, but you gotta find the end. So you gotta kind of open it up, figure out where that end is, okay? Measure it with your other pieces, and then snip it so that it matches, okay? I'm gonna set those to the side. Now that I have them all together, we're gonna meet up all at once. Okay, oops, I missed one. I've got all 7 pieces, and I'm going to wrap that around my finger, stick it through the loop, okay, and then pull, okay. Now that is the piece that's going to go through that hole. So you're going to leave the knot here, take your other end, and I'm going to snip these so they're all the same length, and stick those through that hole. If you find that that hole's not quite big enough, kind of give it another spin. But you don't want that hole too big or it's going to pull it right through. And there we go. Okay, if you need to, you can always make another loop. And then tie that knot a little bit thicker to keep it from going through that hole. Okay, and then you're going to take each one on this side and separate it out. So there's 1, 2, 3, I'm trying to go in order. Red, orange, golden. Okay, yellow. And then I'm gonna do, it's kind of hard to get them all at first. White. Oh no, see, I just popped that through. Don't pull too hard. And then I've got light pink and dark pink. Okay. So here's the tricky part now. So I've got my 7. Red, orange, yellow, green, or red, orange, golden, yellow, white, pink, and dark pink. Okay. And that's all set up there. I'm going to pause for a second.